Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to peek under the hood of the world's most powerful AIs, and what we find there might just change how you think about intelligence itself. Okay, so what if I told you the key to how the most advanced AIs got so good at reasoning is that they literally learned how to have a debate inside their own head? It sounds strange, I know, but researchers found an answer that is both incredibly weird and, honestly, kind of beautiful. So, there's this new generation of AI models, right? And they've made this huge leap in their ability to solve really complex problems. But here's the puzzle. It wasn't just about being bigger or faster. No, something totally different was going on inside.
You see, at first, everyone thought, oh, just let them think longer, give them more processing time. But that just didn't explain the massive performance boost. This was a huge clue that the quality of the thinking, the very process itself, had fundamentally changed.
Yeah, the old way was kind of like a monologue. You know, a single, straightforward voice just laying out a solution step by step. But these new, super successful models, they were doing something else entirely. And for a while, nobody knew what.
So, where did the first clue come from? Well, scientists started digging into the AI's internal scratchpad. Basically, the notes it writes to itself while it's working on a problem. And what they found? It definitely did not look like a monologue. Instead of this neat, clean flow of logic, the text was, well, it was messy. It was filled with phrases that sounded just like a person stopping, second-guessing themselves, and even challenging their own ideas. It felt surprisingly conversational.
I mean, you could almost hear the AI slamming on the brakes going, wait a second, that can't be right. That kind of self-correction, that's a sign of really careful, deliberate reasoning, not just some machine crunching numbers. And check this out. It's actively checking its own work. It catches itself adding an idea that wasn't in the original prompt and says, whoa, we should avoid adding new ideas. It's basically keeping itself on track, just like you would in a debate to keep the argument focused.
And you know, this wasn't just a gut feeling the researchers had. The data totally backs it up. If you look at this chart, you can see that the advanced reasoning models on the right show way more of these conversational habits than the older models on the left. It's not even close. It's a clear, massive difference.
So, all of this evidence pointed researchers toward a really powerful new theory for how these AIs actually think. They call it a society of thought. Okay, so what does that even mean? Here's the core idea. The AI isn't just a single mind working alone. It's actually simulating an entire team of different thinkers inside its own network. It's running this super high-speed internal debate to hammer out the best possible solution. And you can think of it like a real team meeting, right? The AI summons these different personas to the table. You've got the skeptic, who double-checks everything, the creative, who throws out new angles, the expert, who has all the facts, and the critic, who's there just to poke holes in bad ideas. This image gives us a cool peek into that process. See those different colored clusters? Each one represents a different specialized skill the AI can call on, everything from pure logic to understanding the nuances of language. So it's not one big generalist. It's a whole committee of specialists working together. And this is where things get really wild. This AI behavior actually mirrors a huge theory about us, about human intelligence. The idea that our own ability to reason didn't evolve in isolation, but through talking and debating with each other. A diversity of viewpoints helps the AI solve problems better, just like it does for us.
Okay, so a theory is great, but you gotta prove it, right? Well, the researchers found a brilliant way to do just that, by directly messing with the AI's internal conversation. This was the smoking gun.
They designed this really clever experiment. Using a technique called activation steering, they found the exact part of the AI's brain that lights up during a moment of surprise or aha, a key moment in any conversation. Then they figured out how to basically turn a volume dial on that specific thought, making it stronger or weaker whenever they wanted. And the result? It was absolutely astonishing. Just by turning up the dial on this one conversational feature, they more than doubled the AI's accuracy on a tough math problem. It shot up from about 27% to almost 55%. And this wasn't some fluke. Cranking up these conversational features consistently gave them way bigger accuracy gains than fiddling with other, non-conversational parts of the AI's thinking. This was clear proof that social conversational structure is directly responsible for better reasoning. But maybe the ultimate proof is this. In other experiments, when they trained AIs and only rewarded them for getting the right answer, the models spontaneously started to argue with themselves. They learned this behavior all on their own. And why? Because it's simply the most effective strategy to get the job done. So what's the big takeaway from all this?
This discovery isn't just about understanding AI better. It might actually change how we think about intelligence itself.
This research really shifts our whole perspective. Instead of thinking about AI as just this giant calculator with a ton of raw power, we can start to see it as a brilliant coordinator, an orchestra conductor for a symphony of different internal ideas.
And that's really the heart of it. Robust, powerful reasoning seems to emerge from this dynamic back and forth. It's basically a computational version of the wisdom of the crowd that we see in humans, where a well-organized group almost always outthinks any single person in it.
This research from Google's team isn't just explaining how today's AI works. It's opening up completely new ways to design the AIs of tomorrow. Systems that can harness this power of internal debate to solve challenges we can barely even imagine today.
And that leaves us with a pretty deep final thought. If the secret to intelligence is creating a society of thought, it forces us to ask a really important question. What kind of society should we build inside our AI? What values, what perspectives, what rules should we bake into the very core of our most advanced creations? The answer to that is going to shape all of our futures.